Mr. Speaker, I'm glad to be able to report that the entire territory that makes up our nation is safe, secure, and under the control of the government and people of Ghana. This might sound like a pedestrian statement with which to start a message on the state of the nation. Unfortunately, far from it being an everyday truism, this is no longer a statement or claim that can be easily made in these times in the neighborhood in which we are. West Africa is under threat of terrorism and violent extremism, rapidly spreading southwards from the Sahel to coastal West Africa. We can no longer take the territorial integrity of our countries for granted. Indeed, many of our neighbors have already fallen victim and lost large portions of their territories to extremist groups. And Ghana, by the grace of the Almighty, is the only coastal state along the Gulf of Guinea that has so far not recorded a terrorist attack. The Speaker, the peace and security we have in our country has not happened by chance. It has taken deliberate policy and planning on the part of government and a lot of hard work and dedication on the part of our security services to keep our country safe and secure. I might add that it has also meant that we've had to spend a lot of money that would have otherwise have been available to spend on many of our development needs. But I believe we're all agreed that the primary responsibility of the state towards its citizens is to provide and guarantee peace and security, and we're doing just that. Since we came into office, we've ensured a significant expansion of the armed forces and all the other security agencies. We're paying diligent attention to their welfare as well. The accommodation and physical environment generally of the security agencies are being improved. We've quickened the pace of the retooling and equipping of the security agencies to ensure readiness towards the emerging security threats. For the majority of us, in our everyday activities, it is the security of our streets and homes and communities that concern us most. We want our children and grandchildren to grow up in a safe atmosphere, and the Ghana Police Service played the lead role in this. Again, government has performed most creditably. The police are much better equipped than they have ever been, and their increased visibility on the streets goes a long way to reassure the community. The changing image of the police is perhaps best exemplified by the dramatic facelift they have given to the frontage of the police headquarters on the Ring Road in Accra. It is beautiful, and I recommend it to all institutions and indeed households. Whilst we're spending time, money, and energy and lives keeping the country safe from external dangers, I must add that it is a matter of great concern that we continue to have so many chieftaincy and land disputes around the country, which tend to be breeding grounds for internal tensions and destabilization. Mr. Speaker, I must make special mention of the troubles in Boko. The tragedy is not only that a thriving and dynamic town is being reduced to a wasteland of destruction and distrust. We're spending money and energy that would have been better spent on development needs of Boko, providing security to keep brothers and sisters from killing each other. Mr. Speaker, what should concern all of us, and not just the people of Boko, is that in its current state, Boko is an alluring magnet to mischief makers and extremists operating a few kilometers away from the border. In a bid to find a lasting solution to the conflict, government has in the past year undertaken a number of measures, including the establishment of a special Boko task force and the intensification of engagements with the factions for the resolution of the chieftaincy dispute. On the recommendation of the Upper East Regional and National Security Councils, 4 radio stations that have been broadcasting incendiary language and propagating hate speech have been shut down by the National Communications Authority. The Chief Justice, for her part, has also recently established specialized courts in Accra and in Kumasi to deal expeditiously with criminal matters emanating from the Boko conflict. Government is determined to do all it can to ensure that there's security in every inch of the territory of our country. But it is also very much up to the citizens to help create the needed atmosphere. And I'm thus appealing to all citizens, all Ghanaians, to take the See Something, Say Something campaign of the Ministry of National Security very seriously. There is indeed, Mr. Speaker, a state of palpable anxiety and tension in every corner of West Africa, raising the specter of regional instability, which we thought had been banished. Unconstitutional changes in government in parts of Africa, especially in West Africa, through a series of coups d'etats and military interventions in governments, testify to an unfortunate democratic regression in the region. It is in the interest of democratic growth that this development is reversed as soon as possible. And we in Ghana continue to give maximum support to ECOWAS, the regional body of West Africa, and the AU, Africa's continental organization, in their efforts to restore democratic institutions in the affected nations. We must help stem the tide of this unwelcome evolution and help entrench democracy in West Africa. We believe also that a reform of the global governance architecture, such as the Security Council of the United Nations, to make it more representative and accountable, will help strengthen global peace and stability, and thereby help consolidate democratic rule around the world. Mr. Speaker, we in Ghana have had our fair share of political instability and experimentation about how we should govern ourselves. There might be new names being ascribed to some of the supposed new ideas being canvassed by some today. But I dare say on close examination, we will discover that they are not new. We have tried them here and they have failed. We know about all-powerful, cannot be questioned messiahs. We know about liberators, and we know about redeemers and deities in military uniform. It might sound new to some, but those of us who have been around for a while have heard the argument made passionately that democracy was not a suitable form of government if we wanted rapid development. It is a tired argument that was regularly used by apologists for coups d'etats. It's also not new to have political parties and politics in general being denigrated. Indeed, there used to be national campaigns of fear waged against politics and political parties. It took time and it took long battles, but in the end, the consensus did emerge, and we opted for a multi-party democratic form of government under the Constitution which ushered in the Fourth Republic. Mr. Speaker, it is not a perfect document. Constitutions do not ever pretend to be, but it has served us well these past 32 years, considering where we have come from. It is a sacred document that should not be tampered with lightly. But I hasten to add, our Constitution did not descend from heaven. We Ghanaians drew it up to serve our needs, and we can amend it to suit our changing needs and circumstances. We should work towards finding a consensus on the changes that the majority of Ghanaians want made to the Constitution. Mr. Speaker, democracies are founded on elections, and the holding of free and credible elections ensure that people have confidence in the government that emerges at the end of the process. The honorable members of this House, who are at the center of it all, know more than the rest of us that this is an election year. The increased decibel level in all communications would ensure that even the most politically uninterested person among us would know that on December 7th, we shall be going to the polls to elect a new president and new members of parliament. A lot of the responsibility lies on the Electoral Commission to put the organization in place that will ensure that we have credible elections. Government is doing its part to make the work of the Electoral Commission go smoothly. A lot of responsibility lies on the political parties as well, and I hope that the parties recognize that their credibility is also on the line, especially with some people wanting to undermine the multi-party democratic system of government. It is up to the parties to demonstrate that competitive elections are an honorable, character-enhancing experience, and that at the end of the process, the loser will congratulate the winner, and the world does not come to an end because an election has been lost.